Everybody, welcome back to SJG Perspective. Today I want to do a quick video on gun violence and the lack thereof and gun control and try to push back on all of this propaganda that's constantly in the news and in the media, and also with what's going on in Virginia starting this next week, and just it's been going on with the gun grab going on there by old Blackface, old Governor Blackface. I think it's important for us to really understand the statistics and understand some facts. Not that most of my audience already does, but there's some real interesting information out there that we just need to be hammering and be prepared to have. So make sure you share this video out on all your different social media sites. If you're not subscribed and you're just finding the channel right now, please subscribe and hit the bell notification. And make sure you follow me on my other sites too: Parler, DLive, BitChute, things like that, all at SJG Perspective. All right, well, let's jump right in here. It says the city that mandated gun ownership, Kennesaw, Georgia. In 1982, the little town of Kennesaw, Georgia, passed an ordinance that every able-bodied family must own a gun. Here is the text of that ordinance. In order to provide the emergency management of the city, and further in order to provide for and protect the safety, security, and general welfare of the city and its inhabitants, every head of household residing in the city limits is required to maintain a firearm together with ammunition thereof. B. Exempt from the effect of this section are those heads of household who suffer a physical or mental disability which would prohibit them from using such a firearm. Further exempt from this effect of this sections are the head of households who are paupers or who conscientiously oppose maintaining firearms as a result of beliefs or religious doctrine, or persons convicted of a felony. An amendment to this gun ownership law grants exceptions to convicted felons, conscientious objectors, and those who cannot afford a gun. This is something I've said for a long time, is that we should make it mandate. We should mandate people to have guns, not take them away. And it looks like the statistics and how this one plays out, it actually lowered the crime rate. Let me show you. In 2007, there was a follow-up showing the effects of the law on crime and the city. The liberals, of course, warned that Kennesaw would become the wild, wild west. Like all liberal predictions, this one belongs in the sewer. Make sure you flush twice, because it's a long ways to the DNC headquarters. In the 25 years that the law had been in place, not one murder or defensive shooting took place. The first murder finally did occur in 2014, 32 years into the ordinance. The population soared from 5,200 to 28,000. The year prior to the passage of the ordinance, the city had a crime rate of 4,300 per 100,000. That was higher than the national average of 3,800 per 100,000. As of 2007, the crime rate dropped to 2,200 per 100,000. The current crime rate for Kennesaw has dropped to 1,700 per 100,000. So you're mandated to have a gun, you're mandated to have bullets for that gun and know how to use that gun, and the crime rate drops, it doesn't skyrocket. Imagine that. In fact, the Family Circle magazine ranked Kennesaw as one of the 10 best cities for families to live in. Kennesaw came in at number 5. Kennesaw is far from being the one exception to the rule. The Department of Justice released a report that covered the years 1993 to 2011, a period in which gun ownership soared. What did they find? In 1993, there was 18,253 gun deaths. In 2011, there were just 11,100. Even more startling is that the non-fatal shootings dropped by 69%. What about the liberal propaganda that gun shows are the case? What about the liberal propaganda that gun shows are the case of most gun shootings because there are no background checks? The Department of Justice found that gun felons in the federal prisons got just 2% of their guns from gun shows. 10% said they purchased their gun from a retail or a pawn shop. 37% obtained it from family or friends, and 40% obtained it from illegal sources. So 4 out of every 10 guns that was bought illegally by a felon, right, or that a felon or somebody in the prison got, 4 out of 10 of them were bought illegally. Concealed carries also assisted in dropping crime rates during the years of the Obama caliphate. The number of concealed carry permits in 2007 was 4.6 million and has now soared to 12.8 million. The number is actually much higher since 8 states now do not require a concealed carry permit. During this same period, gun deaths dropped from 5.6 million to 4.2 million per 100,000. Harvard studied gun policies around the world and found to their astonishment that more gun laws mean less crimes. One last thing. What about the vaunted gun-free zones? Are they working? Yes, but only for mass murderers. Since the 1950s, all but 3 mass shootings took place in a gun-free zone. This is the thing we need to we need to make sure we're pounding home to people. The fact of the matter is, guns don't kill people, people kill people. Bad people use guns to kill other people. Good people with guns don't ever go out and shoot other good people just because they own a gun. And a gun is an inanimate object that does not harm people in and of itself. It has to have input. It has to have use. It has to be used. It has to have inputs. It has to have direction, right? So it's not a gun issue. The reason our government is pushing this so hard is because they want to get the guns out of the people, because the people are much easier to control when they don't have any weapons to protect themselves if they need to. And it's also such a politically charged subject because it's so, they're so, when somebody gets shot with a gun, it is so, scary, and it's so, it fits the narrative of guns bad. We need to get away from that, and we need to stand our ground. And I mean, all my conservative friends do for sure. But we need to be confident in our understanding of what the real statistics are, and the statistics from the CDC and from the FBI and from DHS that show 500,000 to 3 million people's lives are saved every year from defensive uses of gun. 500,000 on the low end on some of these studies is to as high as 3 million people lives are saved through the defensive uses of gun. That is a very compelling argument. If all we're worried about is saving people's lives and gun violence, well, guns save more lives than they take. Until next time, this has been SJG Perspective. Please don't forget to share this out because YouTube sure as hell isn't going to do it. Watch some of my other videos, and I'm so glad to have you guys on board, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good evening, and without further animus, we'll talk to you later. Bye.